Texas quarterback Arch Manning made his first career start Saturday night for the Longhorns. But what if I told you the offense wasn't the most important unit on the field and Arch Manning wasn't even the most valuable player from this game? Let's talk about it next. Hey everybody, Brian Davis from A to Z Sports here, covering the Texas Longhorns. Your final score tonight, Texas 51, Louisiana Monroe 3. Another blowout win for the number one ranked team in the country. And yes, it was a big night because it was Arch Manning's first career start. We knew that he was going to get the start. You knew he was going to play well, and he did. And we'll talk about that. But we got a lot of other things I want to get to first because I thought there were, quite frankly, a few more important things out there. For instance, I want to start with the defense. Only allowing 3 points was simply tremendous. The way that this unit is simply smothering people, they've only allowed 1 touchdown in 3 home games this year. That's amazing. Monroe had 111 yards. They went 2 for 12 on third down. Texas defense got a safety. Anthony Hill should have had a pick 6, and their touchdown return was taken off the board by a penalty from Trey Moore on a block in the back. This is a defense that is playing hard-nosed physical football, and they are continuing to ramp up, right? As we get into conference play next week, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But just the fact that this defense is just playing so well, hard-nosed physical football, the way that you expect from a Texas defense, it's been really impressive. Now, let's flip to the offensive side of the ball. And let's talk about Arch real quick, okay? Because Arch, it was important. It was his first career start tonight. What did he finish with? He was 15 for 29 for 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions. You know, as I wrote about this for A to Z Sports, there was a little bit of everything. There was some really good moments, and there were also some okay moments, and then there's going to be some other throws that just really is going to turn up Steve Sarkisian's nose when he goes back and looks at the film, right? The first interception in the first drive of the game, Manning dodges a would-be tackler, gets hit, throws an underthrown ball into what was still triple coverage, right? He's going to look at the film and say, hey, listen, man, that's a ball you have to eat. If the play's not there, you got to eat that play, live for the next down, right? And then there were a couple other times where I thought Manning tried to get a little greedy going downfield. And Sark actually talked about this in the postgame. He said, yes, there were plays in the game that were designed for multiple downfield shots, but then there are also times when the quarterback has to know, hey, listen, let's take the medium route, let's take the dump off route, the safety valve with our running back. Let's just turn some of these, long shots into more completable balls. He said in that scenario, instead of completing 15 for 29, you go to maybe 20 for 29, and your completion percentage goes way up. Just because you're playing smarter football, you're moving the chains. You're not having to go for the home run, go for the jugular every single time. But still, for Manning to come out in his first start, when he knew all week long he was going to be the starter, to do what he did, I thought was pretty good. And one thing that it really showed, at least showed me, is that now I really think we can officially, we could have said this last week, but I'm definitely saying it now. Arch Manning is without question, he's the quarterback of the future for 2025. But Quinn Ewers is the quarterback for 2024, and he is the guy that Texas needs now to lead them on a national championship run now. I'm not saying that Arch isn't the guy or he can't do that. It's just that Texas has a seasoned veteran ready to roll who's simply out this week with a strained abdominal injury. You might be able to consider him next week against Mississippi State in the SEC opener. Once you saw what Florida did to that Mississippi State defense today, hey, look, maybe you consider sitting him down again. I thought it was really interesting. Arch talked in postgame about how Quinn was phenomenal all week long in helping him get prepared, right? He said Quinn sat in all the meetings. Arch said, hey, listen, if there's anything you see, if there's any advice, I'm open to it. I want to hear about it. It turns out these two are roommates in the hotel on Friday nights. So they're spending a lot of time together, right? And I've said this before on previous videos here, but I've written this for A to Z, and I really do believe this, that the only reason that this is working and that there is not going to be a quarterback controversy or a quarterback problem is because of who these two people are as individuals. I truly believe that. Who Quinn is as a person, how he believes in so much of his faith, right? Who Arch is as a person, how he was raised, with their family genes and all that stuff. You have two incredibly interesting, dynamic people that are being put in a really, really tough situation in a big-time crockpot of Texas football, and they're handling it great. They're handling it great, and I really think they're just going to continue to do that. Okay, now let's talk about who I thought was the real MVP Saturday night. Texas running back Jaydon Blue. Look, this guy missed last week because of the ankle injury that he initially suffered at Michigan. You remember when he went hopping off the field on one leg against Michigan, went into the tent, everyone thought, oh my God, what's going on? This season is done. Well, no. He sat out last week, came back this week. Sark talked about his road to recovery, and he said in the postgame that Jaydon Blue worked with trainers on Tuesday, and that Sark said, look, if he's going to be able to play, he needs to go through 50% of practice on Wednesday. And he did. And the training staff pushed him even harder. They said, okay, now let's see what he can do on Thursday, right? And they steadily ramped it up. And one thing, too, is that once Jaydon Blue got it in his mind that, hey, listen, you just have basically a bruised ankle. You don't have an ankle sprain. You don't have a strain. You don't have anything that's broken physically. He said that gave Jaydon a whole lot of confidence to be able to just go out and attack his practice and preparation even more. And so what we saw tonight was a pretty impressive bounce back, I thought. 25 carries for a guy who missed last week with an ankle injury and who had to be pushed by the training staff all week long. 25 carries. I don't care who you're playing. You're playing Division I football for the number one team in the country. You carried the ball 25 times for 124 yards. You had 3 touchdowns on the ground. You had a 4th touchdown with a short little 3-yard touchdown catch. That's really amazing. It's the first time Texas has had any player score 4 times since Bijan Robinson had 4 touchdowns against Kansas in 2022. So for Jaydon Blue to do that, hats off to you, sir. Salute to you. That's just a big-time statement for him as an individual. Big-time statement for the running game. Running backs coach Tashard Choice. I'm sure he was going to be super hyped for all of it. But that was just a really good thing to see for the Texas offense. Really helping out a young quarterback and just keeping the thing rolling. So that's what I want to shift to next. This thing is rolling, and it's rolling into the Southeastern Conference opener. Man, listen, we've been talking about this thing since summer of 2021, right? I can't even remember back that far. I don't remember what I had for breakfast today, but I remember that when it was announced in 2021 that Texas was going to be in the SEC, I thought, man, I hope I'm alive at that point, quite honestly. Well, it is here. It is 7 days away. Mississippi State, the cowbells, the whole bit is coming to Royal Memorial Stadium. It's finally here. Texas will have an off week after that, and then Oklahoma, Georgia, and the rest of the whole slate. But, one thing I thought that was really interesting, Sark said in postgame too, is that we can't make it any bigger than it is. And they shouldn't, right? Just prepare for the next game like you've been doing for all of them. Trust in your preparation. That's what Sark says all the time. That's all Texas has to do, in my estimation. And I think they'll do well. Again, Billy Napier is considered to be one or 1.5 feet out the door at Florida, and they really put it on Mississippi State today. So I think that Texas is going to start the week as a solid, probably a double-digit favorite at home, whether it's Arch or Quinn. And they'll do well next week and move to 5-0. So, but right now they're 4-0. They've got a defense playing really, really well. They've got a great quarterback situation with an experienced veteran and a young up-and-comer who's proven himself to be the future. And they got a running back who's bounced back full of confidence. Man, if you're a Texas fan, how do you not like that? 5th largest crowd in Royal Memorial Stadium history tonight to see Louisiana Monroe. That's really impressive. Over 100,000 people have been in the stadium every week. Another 100,000 are going to be there next week. A to Z Sports is going to be right here bringing it all to you all week long. Remember, it's free. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're going to see all the videos. Come see us on the website, a2zsports.com/Longhorns for all the coverage that you want and expect out of me and our wonderful site, bringing you all the coverage from colleges and NFL. But that's it for me tonight. Texas 51, Monroe 3. We will see you again on Monday.